Hey, good morning, fellow traders. So we had a little bit of a wild day on Friday afternoon, starting after lunch. Pretty much the leaders got shellacked, all selling off at the same time. Looks like all the herd of mutual funds together decided to sell and trying to get out of them at the same time. So some damage done. Let's take a look at that. So we got the S&P futures down here a little bit, actually testing somewhat near the area of Friday's low here, trying to hold this here. We'll see if we can, get a little move up or whether it continues to go down. You can see this outside bar here. And of course, these are going to look a little different than the ETFs. In this case, the Spiders SPY, if you're looking at that. This is a 24-hour chart. So, our first reference point is support, Friday's low, and resistance, Friday's high. So we got a wild whippy bar here. Probably odds, just historically speaking, is for an inside day here today, as traders try to figure out, what's going on and where we're going to go from there. So, still above the major support levels. Weekly trend is still up. Just a wild outside day, and we'll have to try and figure this out in the next day or two, and we'll see what sets up. Here's where the real damage was done in the NASDAQ, which is, the internet FANG stocks and now Microsoft, some software, and, semiconductors hit as well. Up above the prior low, wild swing, now getting closer to, well, there's a little bit of support here. It already pushed through this high. So somewhere in between here where it's trying to hold, and you can see on the 24-hour chart, it's down near the low of Friday, and it's trying to hold here. Now, so does it, the first half hour or so, if it doesn't get a bounce, odds are it's going lower, and, the 50 MA would be a targeted point there on the daily chart, and is in the area of this prior low. So far, the weekly trend is still up. So, big time frame trend is still up, still intact. And oil bouncing a little bit here this morning as it gets down near the price support, and up. We'll see how far this can go. As far as the stocks go, XLE had a nice bounce on Friday. It's still in a downtrend. More of the railroad tracks, kind of toboggan slide type of, situation with the moving averages pointing straight down at a 45. That's pretty bearish, but we'll see how far this can get here. Also in an area of price support. Bonds chugging around sideways here at resistance. Just trying to see if it can get through that or whether it's going to make a return trip back down to support. Really not a lot to do there. And so the damage still continues here. We got, in the ones that got hit hard on Friday, NVIDIA still under pressure. Apple was downgraded today. That's down a couple of points here. Giant bar. And, big bars like this, usually you get a contraction in volatility, but they suggest continuation at some point. Tesla actually up a little bit here today, so doing some relative strength here pre-market, looking good. Amazon down a bit. What a wild ride that one was. And so what else? AMD down a bit. Facebook is down $1, but testing the lows there. Google down 5, testing the lows. Netflix down 2, testing the lows. So you see the majority of this stuff is just testing the lows of Friday. No real follow-through or damage being done or recovery as far as it goes here at the moment pre-market. Microsoft, the same thing. Is Momo on the list, down half a point, not a big deal, but now we can see a upside shakeout or a head and shoulders, however you want to call it, and starting to, looks like it's going to break down here, so probably continuation move to the downside there. And just looking at whatever else here might be of any interest. GE, some positive news. Nice little bottoming pattern going on there, but still a downtrend. You might be able to get a bounce out of this if you like that kind of pattern. Not one of my favorites. Financials, I guess, is probably the big news here. And Citibank leading, you've heard me mention before, it rarely leads, and it's broken out. It looks fantastic. Let's keep an eye on what this does here today. It was up 3 days in a row straight up, so wouldn't be unusual to see a little bit of a pullback in that. And here we have, there's XLF, same kind of breakout and negating for the moment this head and shoulders top on the weekly. So implications are that it's going to go higher. So bank stocks and financials, a place to focus on. And bottoming, steel stocks. So take a look at X and NUE, downside shakeout. And, you can see the moving averages are still pointing down. But, a pattern that suggests it might be able to work its way to start moving back up again. So we're keeping an eye on that. And that's about it for me for this morning. Have a great trading day. We'll see how the day unfolds here. On a side note, the sentiment did get to a bearish level, meaning too many option traders leaning to the call side, but breadth did not give us a signal, so we didn't have an all-out sell based on the internals. So overall, no signal there, neutral, and we just take it day to day as we usually do. Have a great trading day.